Welcome to the Organic Matrix. My name is Samantha Iko, and today we're going to talk about Omicron without the vaccine. So, I'm personally not vaccinated, and I'm not anti-vax or anything. Personally, I just have a lot of faith in my immune system. I know what I take in my body, I know my habits, so every day I start my day with 25 superfoods, and I drink 8 medicinal mushrooms every day, on top of turmeric tea with numerous amount of herbs. And I believe in the power of that. I'm 24 years old. I'm very young. So, I'm gonna take my chances. So, I got COVID last month, January 6th, I got COVID. So for the last 2 years, I was able to avoid getting infected with Alpha and Delta. But I remember the exact day I got infected with the virus. I went to a bar to help my friend get started on their medicinal mushroom journey. And there was a bartender there that was coughing. And she took her mask off and she started coughing. And I give her a look like, "Are you good?" And she's like, "Yeah, don't worry. I had COVID 5 days ago, but I quarantined." So this was around the time where the CDC was saying that if you are vaccinated and if you get COVID, you can go back to work after 5 days of quarantine. So, no shade on her. She was just doing her job. And she told me that. So she's coughing outside of her mask, and then she's like, sorry, and she puts her mask back on. As soon as she said that she had COVID, I had red alarms going off in my head, and I was like, oh no, it's my time. So I went home later that day, and I felt fine. And when I woke up in the morning, I felt like there was like a little something going on in my throat. And I wasn't sure if I just smoked too much the night before. So I was like, I'm just gonna take a break. I'm not gonna smoke at all. And I went through the rest of my day. The next day, I started feeling like clearing my throat a lot, and I felt a little fatigued. And also a big thing for me was my lungs. I felt like I could not tolerate smoking. My body didn't crave it. It was just my body was like, "Sam, not today," which was bizarre for me because now, ever since my quarantine, it's easy for me not to smoke every day. But before, it was like a habit. So I didn't smoke that day, and I went on my merry way. And the next day, I woke up with the biggest migraine ever, and I was like, "Mom, I'm sick. I have to quarantine," because the biggest indicator of Omicron from my family was that it came with a terrible headache. So I know my body very well. I don't usually get migraines. I don't really get headaches. Sometimes I would, but mostly when I'm very dehydrated, but I know how much water I drink in the day, so I knew that wasn't the case. So I stayed in bed, and somehow my mom managed to get an at-home test, because during this time, it was right after Christmas, right after New Year's, and I live in New York City. Those lines were around the building. You had to wait 3 hours online outside in the cold in order to get a test done. And I was not about to put myself through that. I was not about to stand online feeling sick and dizzy just to prove something that I already know. So thankfully, my mom got her hands on some tests, and I come out to be positive, and I was like, sheesh. I was hoping that I was one of those lucky people who just had natural immunity, but I'm closer to it now than I was before. So I started off with a headache, and by the 4th day, I actually felt sick. So I was sweating a lot. I was sweating profusely, but I didn't have a fever. I didn't have a cough. I had headaches. I had dizziness, nausea, and a loss of appetite. And most of the things that I experienced were very mental. I had brain fog, and I couldn't retrieve memories or curiosity as well. I had no motivation. And then by the 5th day, Um, I was still feeling sick, and like I said, like just waking up with a headache and feeling fatigued, no appetite. And then the next day, I started feeling a lot better. Like, I had one night where I was just, I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning. I was sweating a lot. And then the next day, it was like a miracle. I felt completely fine. And I think that was like around my 6th day. I was like, whew, wow. Um, would I compare it to the flu? No. I would compare it more to like bronchitis because my lungs were in pain for like majority of the month, and now I finally feel like a lot better and it feels a lot normal. And yeah, so those are my symptoms. Around day 6 and 7 is when I lost my taste and smell. So when that happened, I was like really upset, like because I was like, what is life without tasting and smelling? Like, I'm already in my room for a week, very small room, bored. And now I can't even enjoy like New York pizza. Like, what? So that put me down because I was like, oh sheesh, I really hope that I don't end up losing my sense of smell and taste for good. Thankfully, after 4 days of not being able to smell, I started getting my smell back, and now it's like completely normal and like my taste completely normal. But when I didn't smell anything, like I knew I couldn't smell anything, like because when I woke up in the morning, I smelled my candle, couldn't smell it. Smelled lotion, couldn't smell it. Smelled perfume, couldn't smell it. I even opened up my dog's breath and went, and I couldn't even smell his breath. So after that, I was like, damn, I really can't smell anything. Yeah. To answer your question, I had COVID for. I've been positive with COVID for about 30 days. And I don't even know if I tested negative yet. So I tested positive on the 8th of January, and all the way till the 22nd of January, I was testing positive with my PCR and rapid test. With the at-home test, I stopped testing positive with those, so I thought I was fine, but then when I went to the doctor, I found out I was still positive. And to be transparent, I haven't been to the doctor yet, and I haven't really been out of my house since. My greatest advice for anyone who's unvaccinated or vaccinated and you end up getting Omicron is get some zinc. Like out of all of the vitamins that I take, out of the medicinal mushrooms I drink, out of the turmeric tea that I make, zinc made a noticeably big difference in how I felt the very next day. It boosts the immune system in incredible ways, and I would say that was probably one of my secret weapons when I was recovering from Omicron. The next set of advice I would give is find reputable medicinal mushrooms. If you want some references, I trust and love a company called The Ultimate, where that's where I get my mushrooms. They're third-party tested, promise beta-glucan content, and that's the brand that I trust because there's a lot of junk going around that seems like it's affordable, but it's costing you your health because there's no point in spending money in supplements unless it's shown to work. So while shopping for supplements, I recommend looking for supplements that are plant-derived, that don't have isolates, and like try to get 100% raw, organic, with no fillers. Like I just literally go on Google and I'm like, supplements with no fillers. And that's the best way because you want your body to be able to absorb what you take in, right? You know, I do. I drink a lot of tea. So there's immune boosting teas you can buy in ShopRite, and then you can add to it. So like I have these immune boosting teas, and I just add my lemon, my honey, some turmeric, black pepper, and now I got some sancha inchi oil, and I'm adding that in too. So my brain is like super juiced up on omega-3s. and anti-inflammation. And that's what we really want when we have COVID-19. We want anything that's going to bring down the inflammation in our bodies. So if you know anyone that's gotten infected, or if you're infected, or if you're even thinking about how you can prevent COVID from taking over your body, I would recommend using preventative measures. And I don't mean like change your whole diet, but invest in things that are proven to work. Invest in things that are natural because it's easier for our body to absorb it. And drink a lot of water. So thank you for joining me today on the Organic Matrix. And I'm Sam Aiko, your host, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.